Okay, I'm gonna try to project and yell because this is who would have thunk it? You know, Denver right now we're supposed to be oh, now you can hear. Got it. My name is Carlos Lando. I am the general manager of Kuvo Jazz, KUVO.org, and thank you for being here today. And the reason we're all here, obviously, is because of the closing of this historic place called El Chapultepec. And for me, and I'm going to introduce Anna and Angela, Jerry Krantz's daughters. Jerry Krantz was the proprietor of this establishment dating back to the 60s. And the thing that really stands out about the pack, which I think speaks to the humanity and the character of Jerry Krantz and the Krantz family, his kids, is that it didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter. You could be coming off the streets. You could be a stranger from out of town. You could be in town on a business meeting. Back in the day where downtown ended up on 18th Street and everything was dark 2 blocks up. You knew that when you saw the cantina sign, that's where the action was. That's where jazz was. That's where you were welcome. And when I say it didn't matter where you came from, what your lot in life was. If you had enough money to buy a beer and you wanted to enjoy some music, you were welcome. And you'd be in there rubbing elbows with the mayor, with a senator, with a famous musician or a famous celebrity, movie star, whatever. This was the place where everybody came to kind of let their hair down and unwind and be part of a scene that it didn't matter, like I said, your stature or how much money you had, or if you didn't have money. You were all here, and it was all because of the culture that Jerry Krantz established. He, was born and raised here, and you talk about the history and the legacy of this kind of an establishment. It could have gone through 9-10 hands, but it stayed in the family for a reason, because it was part of their culture and part of their family. So I'm very honored to be asked to be here to say and speak a few words about El Chapultepec. And for us, the relationship that we had, speaking of Kuvo Jazz with Jerry and El Chapultepec, was very, very special. For me, the heyday of jazz in Denver, as far as El Chapultepec, the golden era was essentially about 85 through just after they opened up Coors Field. Everything changed after that. The neighborhood changed. It became a little tougher for the old-time jazz people to come down here and park and catch a late set, because you just couldn't. But in spite of all of that, that 20-year period for me, in my opinion, was what made this area, what this part of town was all about. And it'll never be the same. This is definitely a huge, huge loss, and we're all feeling it. So thank you for being here, and we're going to bring out Anna. Anna first. We'll do Anna first. Yeah. Yeah, we'll bring out Anna and Angela. Anna, born and raised here, practically in this club, and Angela, who has been the proprietor and been running the El Chapultepec since her dad passed away. I believe that was 2012 when Mr. Krantz died. So let me bring the ladies out. Yes, we're ready.
We all got stuck inside.
Yeah. It's a little warmer in there, isn't it? Come on out, everybody.
There we go.
Okay. Okay. Okay, this is Angela.
Anna.
I'm sorry. This is Anna. That's Angela.
Hello, everybody. I prepared a little statement because I'm a little emotional, so bear with us as we try to get through this announcement. My name's Anna, as Carlos introduced me. I'm the youngest daughter of Jerry Krantz, who turned El Chapultepec into what we call the Peck, right? This is my sister Angela. Carlos already introduced a little bit. She's the boss lady. She's been pouring her blood, sweat, and tears into this business for the past 15 years. She's been here every day, and before that, she was helping Dad run the kitchen, and she's just the face of the place. It's no secret that the Peck's been standing here for 87 years. It wasn't always a jazz club. It started as a Mexican restaurant, and it was owned by the Romano family. My dad married into the Romano family, and then he started helping out and kind of being a part of the business. And when the patriarch of the Romano family passed away, that's when he took over the ownership of the business. We never took ownership of the building, unfortunately. I just wanted to clarify that. We've hosted too many musicians to even name. We've been the breeding ground for young musicians to come and learn how to play. Freddie Sr. is the ultimate jazz teacher everybody wanted to play with and really learned from. We've been celebrating first dates, birthdays, anniversaries, and we've just been really blessed to be a part of all of these special moments for all of the past years. We want to make sure we're not going to be too quick to point the finger at COVID and at our shutdowns for being the reason for this closure. Of course, the closure played a part in it. Undoubtedly, that makes an impact in our decision. But there are so many things that led to this choice. The jazz musicians, blues musicians, they shouldn't have to time their sets around the baseball innings and when the crowd's going to get out and be wild. They should be able to play their music and the crowd just be there to enjoy them. And that's been really difficult to manage, and we've been doing it a long time. The employees and our musicians and our customers, we shouldn't have to be worried about our safety when it's time to leave, whether it's the tent city or the drunken mobs that are pouring out onto Market Street at 2 o'clock. It's just really taking a toll on us. And it's just that Denver's different than it used to be, and 20th and Market is different than it used to be. We really appreciate the desire that the community has to try to rescue us, to try to save the Peck. There's a lot of, online conversation about that, and we just want to really be clear about a few things. One, the Peck is not for sale. The business is not for sale. We're not interested in selling. And the decision is final. There's not going to be a GoFundMe that's going to reverse our choice. So we just want to be clear about that. The Peck is a living, breathing part of Denver, and especially a part of our family. And it's very intimate to us. And we're just ready to close that chapter and keep it with us, ultimately. Our hearts really go out to everybody that's saddened by this announcement. We know that there's so many of you that are really our family. Some of our Peck family is closer than blood. We're joined here with some of them. Freddie Jr., Diana, Marion, all of us, okay? But I just want to make sure that everybody knows that the hope isn't lost. There's still ways that we can keep jazz alive in Denver. There's a lot of musicians, there's a lot of organizations, there's a lot of things that we can get behind to make sure that this isn't closing a chapter on jazz in Denver, okay? You can become a sustaining member at KUVO, at kuvo.org. They're the best radio station. They do so much work out in the community, and they really help a lot of musicians and venues. Dazzle on dazzledenver.com. Donald over there and their whole crew has been doing amazing things to try to keep employees working and fed and keep music alive. One of the big things that we always are about at El Chapultepec is jazz education. And we want to put a shout out also to the Colorado Conservatory for Jazz Arts. You can find music instructors there, donate to their organization. They're really a great company, and they help teach young students how to play jazz and keep jazz alive in Denver and across the globe. So I want to thank everyone for coming, and I just want to end with saying that I know that it's difficult for everybody, but ultimately, Angela can't bear the ghosts of Denver's past, the ghosts of the wall, just because it's nostalgic to us. It has to be something that's meaningful, and unfortunately, Denver's outgrown us. So we'll open up for some questions if anybody likes, unless you wanted to say something, Freddie. Okay, I'm going to pass. This is Freddie Jr.
I don't know if I could do this, but yeah, I'm Freddie Rodriguez Jr. My father was Freddie Rodriguez Sr., longtime jazz sax man of this great city. He walked in early 1980, 40 years ago. My father and I played here for 40 years. He walked in and went up to Anna and Angela's father, Jerry Krantz, and asked him for a gig. And it was as simple as that. There was nothing around here. And like you said, Denver was completely different. Nothing around here. Just a few guys laying on the streets. Just the Peck. Maybe a couple restaurants over here. And they had mariachi music for years, I believe, before my dad came in here. Anyway, he got a gig. Jerry said, let's try it. And it just blossomed. It was, jazz was, that's all we played here. It was jazz. Old jazz. Straight ahead jazz. Yeah. For years and years and years. And then as the years went on, I started playing different genres of music. Blues, R&B, having different great artists coming in here. And yeah, we had celebrities, officials, everybody you could think of. On behalf of my father and Rodriguez family, my father loved this club. Jerry Krantz was his brother, and my dad loved this club. Rain, sleet, snow, he could be sick with the flu or whatever. And the funny thing is, my dad has actually been very healthy all his years he was on this planet. He loved coming down here. He would always make sure he was up for the gig here early and stay till the very end and play. And he loved it. He just loved it. And I like what Anna said about, he groomed hundreds of musicians. Myself, Andrew Hudson is here, Tony Black he's not here today, but he groomed numerous famous musicians that gone back east, out west. It's the list is, you can't even say how many people he groomed to play the art of music of jazz. My father was a great man. He's a great musician and just a great man. And I'm just so thankful that I learned how to play here. Andrew Hudson, numerous musicians. My good friend Diana Castro here and Marion. We played here for years on Tuesday nights. And yep. And my father would always come to see me play, and Diana. He'd come up with his Buick Riviera and support me, his baby boy. It's crazy. But anyway, I'm sad to see this place go. I'm sure something will come good out of this, and who knows? You never know what's going to happen in the future. But I'm gonna miss this place, El Chapultepec, and. My father came up with the peck. That was his term, because very few people can pronounce El Chapultepec, to be honest with you. So we would call it the peck. Thank you.
Angela. So if anybody has any questions, Angela and I would be happy to answer anything. The name is a bit of is a bit of urban legend. There's stories that change quite a bit. Do you want to talk about that one?
Well, they said that the name originated from Chapultepec in Mexico City, and that the Romano family used to send money out there. The reason why, we don't know. And then when he came back here, everybody would always call him Mr. Chapultepec, and that's why they say changed the name to Chapultepec.
You know, in those days, the bars were also kind of people's banks, right? It was a bit of a community, so that's where people would come and cash their check and send their money back home. So it just stuck, and we always kept it the Chapultepec. Oh gosh, I mean, there's so many we can't even go. But some of the musicians. Let's see. Do we want current musicians or all of them? I mean, you name a musician and they played here. For current modern music, we can talk about Javon Jackson, all of the Marsalis brothers, Brad Lely, all of the Tonight Show band, Pete and Connie Condoli, Red Holloway, Tony Bennett, Dakota Staten. I mean, Red Holloway, Pete Crisley, yeah, Eddie Harris. There you go. I mean, I think everybody can call out a name. It'd be a shorter list if we just said who hasn't played. So, the Jonas Brothers recently, and ZZ Top has come. Angela didn't recognize them. So, yeah. So, I mean, just all of them. Everybody.
It's the place to be.
No, unfortunately, it's just time to close the chapter. There's no continuation of this right now. The building is not for our decision. We're not owners of the building, so we don't know. But based on the age and the condition of the building, their options are probably to remodel. We're in the LoDo Historical District, which will give development, some challenges, but that's not our decision. The building itself, I don't believe, has historical designation, but the city has it designated as a historical district. So that has some variations. But like I said, that's not up for our decision on that. Well, we actually just had a conversation about this. The sign is part of the building, so that's unfortunately not our ownership. But we are working with some people in the landlord to see if we can get some preservation of the sign.
What can you tell people so faithful?
Pretty much just thank you for all your support through all these years, coming, listening, and enjoying the music and supporting all of us. It was greatly appreciated. A lot of the people that have been coming here were part of our family because they've been coming here ever since we were kids. So we've grown up with all the customers that have been coming in here. So thank you for all the years of this support.
Support live music. Support live music.
And continue to support live music. Just because we're closing, there's still venues out there. We can keep all these great Colorado musicians playing.
We've been here, Angela and myself. We were here since we were teenagers, and she was just a little baby girl. This is like 1980. I was 12 or 13. I'm not sure what these ladies what their age were, but it was under that. So,
Don't tell it.
and I'm not gonna say it because you're not supposed to say that, right? But so we grew up with everybody that came in through here, and even the local homeless person. We all had a family, and we all loved each other, and kept, these folks kept this place going, and we were able to play. Yeah.
Well, hi everybody. I want to say something as one of the entertainers that was down here. I've been down here for 20 years, and to me that's 2 decades. That's a very long time. And when I start my show, I would always say, welcome everybody to beautiful downtown El Chapultepec. So for the last time, I want to say it, and you guys give a big applause or anything. Welcome everybody to beautiful downtown El Chapultepec. Yeah, I mean that from the bottom of my heart, Angela.
You're going to town. That's good.
Yeah.
I'll say something. I just want to say thank you so much for supporting live music. And Angela, boy, we've gone through some stuff together. I called, I said, you haven't fired me yet. You're going to fire me today? What's going on? But anyway, you guys, just thank you so much. Thank you, Angela, for being such a force in the music community. This is not every day. And I cut my teeth here. I mean, when I was doing funk, all funk music, Angela hired me just to do jazz, and I was so appreciative that she said, well, you're moving on, let's do something else. And I was so very fortunate to be able to come here and just do jazz music and just do my genre and not have to worry about doing the funk and all that. Just come and do your thing. And I've been so appreciative for it. It's been a wonderful experience. I'm so sorry that it's over, but keep supporting live music, you guys, because we need your support. We need it so bad, and we just need to support our musicians, support our local radio stations. You know, Carlos has got some stuff coming up. I'm sure you want to come up and talk about your situation, but thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Anyone else? Any questions? Yeah, please.
Hi, my name is Andrew Hudson, and I remember I was about 17 years old, maybe 16, and I went to Manual High School, and me and my buddies, we would sneak out late at night. I remember I stuffed my bed with pillows and snuck out the window because my parents would have killed me if they knew I was coming down to 20th and Market in 1982. And we'd hang out this door right here. And there's a lot of young jazz musicians who hung outside that door wanting to listen, and maybe if the crowd died down a little bit, they'd get invited in to sit in with the band, which is what happened with us. And I will tell you this, it was a sacred moment your first time playing at the El Chapultepec, because it was church. And you got on that stage and those guys were serious about their art. And I'll never forget, I think it was Bruno Carr, and I got on that stage one time and I got lost in the middle of the song. And I felt a drumstick on my skull. And I looked back at him, and he just shook his head and said, not at my church. And I found my place back very quickly. But that's what it was like. And you can talk to a lot of musicians, a lot of jazz musicians, who got their start by coming down here and having Freddie or whoever else was leading the band, letting them come sit in on the stage. And, you know, I know this is a sad time for us, but kind of like any death, let's mourn, but let's also celebrate the fact that this place existed to begin with. And thank the Krantz family for all the great memories and everything that they have done. I can't even begin to tell you. This place is a heartbeat of Denver. I mean, when you come to Denver, you go to the Denver Mint and you go to the El Chapultepec. That's what this place is all about. And we're going to miss it, but thank you so much for all the opportunity, for all the great memories, the music, everything. Keeping jazz alive. I mean, putting Denver on the map with this music. I tell you what, you talk about all those great jazz musicians who came in here. Denver musicians held their own. I mean, they were great. They could, all those guys from New York, all those guys from Chicago, Denver musicians held their own. And the jazz musicians who came here knew that too. And we still have great jazz musicians. We still have great young jazz musicians, and we still have jazz in this town. And that's never gonna end. So again, thank you guys so much for everything you've done and for your father and the legacy that you've left, not only the city, but me personally and all these jazz musicians and all the fans.
Try not to cry. Thank you, everybody. I guess if there's no other questions, we can wrap up. Anybody has any other, or if anybody would like to say anything? Want to wrap it up, Carlos? Thank you.
You know, when I walked in here, and I'm one of those, you know, the old school guys, so I hadn't been around much. Who's been around much in 2020, right after February or March? But we have, many of you may not know this, but we broadcast out of here almost 3 years, from around 92 to the end of 94, somewhere in there, in the second booth. And it was on Thursday nights, and then we tried some on Sunday nights. So Billy Tolles used to hold down the fort here starting on Sunday nights for a couple of, I think through Wednesday or something for a long time. So we did some broadcasts with him, but we have, I want to say, I don't know, 90 to 100 archival broadcasts from this place in there, that second booth. And let me tell you, when we would get other broadcasters or other musicians from other towns, because they'd have to give us permission to put them on the air, it was like, are you kidding me? You're actually going to put this music on the air from there? Because there was no separation on anything. Somehow we found a way to take what was the best part of Chapultepec, which was the musicians, the people, the ambience, just a good feeling, and that came out through the airwaves. The music was a big part of it, but when you listen to the Chapultepec broadcast, those of you can remember, you heard, it's something like you just wanted to turn the radio off and get in your car and come down, because that's just the way it was. Or every once in a while, me or a co-host would say, hey, did you see who just walked in? And you know, it would be a famous musician of some sort, and all of a sudden another 30 people would show up in the club because they heard that somebody from the Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra was here, or you know, just somebody, a movie star, just have a quiet drink. But it was all part of the legacy of the Peck. So we're hoping once things settle down and we can get into our new home, which is at 21st and Arapahoe, and we start going through this massive archive of music recorded here in Colorado in the last 30 years, the big part of it was El Chapultepec. We're hoping that we can develop some kind of a show or a platform on one of our digital streams or even on the air to really highlight and go back and reminisce and bring you some wonderful music from really the heyday of El Chapultepec. So thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And thank you to the entire family for what they've done and building the legacy of jazz here. The musicians, the family, and most of all, our community for supporting this place and being here all. Thank you very much.
Hey, I wanted to let everyone know, unfortunately, they've started taking down all the pictures and all the stuff inside the Peck, so we're not going to let people in to get pictures inside the Chapultepec right now. It doesn't look the same. We hope you all, there's tons of pictures online, there's tons of pictures that you might have of your own, but it just doesn't look the same, and they'd rather it be remembered as it was, so thank you for that.
Very well done. Very well done. Very well done.